to this week's mess.
Oh, it's a mess. Oh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. It's a Mess, Sis, my favorite podcast. I'm Jess, working through the mess, and I'm so glad you came back to hang out with us again.
And I'm Rena, your other host, and I don't have anything clever to say, so let's just do this.
Period. You guys are joining us for episode 83. Do you punish yourself for your failures? I'm actually very excited about this episode. It came to me in a dream. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll get into that in just a minute. We do have a segment that we like to hit first called What's the Mess? So I'm going to ask Rena, what's your mess?
My mess is that I had a pretty dark week.
Yeah.
You know, just definitely like my period didn't help.
Oh,
you know?
man.
You know how that goes, or maybe you don't, just yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of old feelings came up for me. And it's kind of really on par with this topic. I just kind of went to this really negative or pessimistic way of thinking, but towards the end of the week I kind of pulled out of it. I feel my energy
Yeah.
returning. So, yeah, like it's just been a mess. It's just been a
Yeah.
mess. Yeah, but I feel like it's cleaning up. I'm gaining some
Okay.
clarity, and I'm
Mhm.
really excited for this topic because I feel like it's just gonna kind of help me get back on track even further.
That's good. That's good. That's very funny. I mean, not funny for real, but funny, interesting that our messes are very similar.
Oh, okay.
Or at least around the same topic. I said my messes, I feel like I'm on my cycle a lot more these days.
Oh, damn.
Like I feel like I'm always on my cycle. But my period calendar assures me that I'm wrong. Like, but the way these hormones be hormoning, I feel like I get one good week a month before I'm feeling like a little bit out of whack.
Yeah.
Um, so my goal this year, one of them is to figure out my hormones and do the best I can to get them back into some sort of normalcy. Cause like I have never experienced like when I was younger, I used to have the envy of the girls because I went to all women college, especially. And my period was just so mild, like it should be. Um,
Mild. What does that
yeah.
look like? What do you mean mild? What is
I
that
mean,
like?
I don't really have any PMS symptoms, which if you don't know what PMS is, it's like your premenstrual. It's like the week or so before,
Maybe
maybe
like
the
2
sore
weeks.
breast. Yeah, 10 days for me, just about now.
Yeah.
But it's like sore breast, it's like the hormonal, changes where you're like more moody or like you feel like you need to cry or you're just sad or you're angry, you're
You just
irritable,
want to
your
end it.
skin is weird or you want to end it or whatever these things happen during the
Ooh, that's fine.
yeah, my face, acne, all these things. So those things I didn't have a lot of that when I was growing up. My cycle was like my actual period was maybe 3 days, 4 days, something like that. And I was like mostly good. I didn't really need a lot of heating pad. I didn't need a lot of the stuff.
That was
Um
definitely the envy because man,
you said what?
that was definitely the envy. That
Yeah.
right there sounds very pleasant. Like
It
who
was
wouldn't
not
want that
horrible.
every month? Like
It wasn't
there's
horrible.
no vomiting, there's no cramps,
Yeah.
there's no
Mm-mm.
bleeding everywhere, there's no
Mm-mm.
Advil,
Mm-mm.
there's nothing. And only three
No.
days, 6 days, six
Yeah.
days.
3, 4 days of like the
It's what
full
she's
thing.
spotting on the fourth day. Like,
Well, the 5th day, maybe we'll say 5 because the 5th day was like the spotting and things like that.
uh-huh.
The last little remnants.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I had a pretty gentle, mild, like that's why I call it because there was some cramping, of course, and the little things here. But as I get older, it's like literally 10 days out.
Mhm.
My breasts are
Yeah.
terribly achy and my nipples are terribly sore. And I'm like,
Feel
I
like
take
some
my
stuff is
bra
about to
off.
fall off.
My bra off, my boobs are like, I'm like, oh my God. It's crazy. My hormones, like I can just feel the other day, probably like 3 days ago, I just wallowed in the bed and I cried.
Oh.
I actually went to IKEA because I need a desk I need a chair for my computer desk that I just bought. And I was in there and I could just feel it happening. And I was like, no, just keep looking. So I kept trying to look. And I was like, just go home. I went home and I cried and I wallowed and I was like, why? I know this is my hormones, but it doesn't feel good. And I just want somebody to be here. And I It was
Yeah.
horrible. It
Yeah.
was horrible. I
Mhm.
was so emotional and I was so like
It just
such a
seems
little
like
bitch.
yeah,
Um,
everything just seems
yeah.
like dismal, like it's just
Yes.
never gonna get better. You're like,
Never.
"Why do I exist? Like, what is the point of this? What is the purpose
Yeah,
of life?" Like,
yeah, yeah. And I know it's because my hormones are out of whack. I have some other things happening, in my reproductive, area and things like that that I feel like is kind of throwing things into a tizzy. And it's just a lot. I'm just like, fuck, I'm always cycling. I'm always cycling. I'm always fucking
or
cycling. And it's
spiraling.
just spiraling, cycling. It's just a lot. It's
Yeah.
like totally a lot. And so it's mad annoying. And that's the mess. I'm just like, how do I legitimately get my hormones back in balance? I was actually talking to one of my best friends and I was like, I just wish I could go back to factory reset.
Oh, damn.
Like the body I was supposed to have. And a lot of the things that have happened in my body is not even from the things that I've done. It's just like growing up, the chemicals that were put in my hair, the chemicals that are put in our food, the way that we had to eat because of our level of, financial income, things like that. Like there are definitely a lot more years of me taking care of myself, but that foundational start is like oftentimes like really crucial to how you continue to grow. And so I'm just like, I wish I could do what I'm doing now on a factory reset body. I've started to like I'm vegan now or like
Mhm.
95% vegan and like I work out I know you raise your eyebrow on that. Cause if it's a sweet treat, I'ma eat it. Okay. I don't give a fuck what you put in that bitch. But most of the time it's like I'm very vegan. I have a strict, like I work out 3, 4 times a week, like all this stuff. And I'm just like, not to say that I don't want to age, but like I feel like I should be aging more gracefully.
Hmm.
And not to say that I'm not. I just don't want any aches. I want no pains. I want
Ah,
I
nah.
think that's
Oh,
what it is. I just want an unrealistic expectation of what it means to continue growing up. And I'm sick of it.
well, that is a mess.
That is a mess.
It is, and I wish I had a solution. I mean, I think you're doing what you can. I think you're
Yeah.
saying you're eating, you're
Mhm.
exercising more, you're more aware. I think
Yeah.
a lot of times we get into this situation because we lack awareness.
That's true.
So, you're on your way.
Yeah,
Some
and I
days
mean,
it's not gonna be there though.
they are. I mean, and I think to be honest, I know it could be a lot worse if I weren't taking care of myself in this way. So it's like I'm gonna keep doing it and just figuring out adding new things every time I figure out something that works for my body. And I'm grateful for the internet, honestly. And I'm grateful for people that have been trying things out and saying, hey, this works, try this and just giving it my best go, so that when I'm like 95, I'm like, all right, this ain't too bad. That's the goal.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
95.
95.
I mean,
Any
maybe I'll be a little bit more optimistic, because once I go through like menopause or something, I don't know. Then
maybe.
maybe I don't know.
We don't hear a lot.
We don't yet
We should find see if we can find some older ladies to talk to.
that are willing to talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I
Yeah,
love
I think we
that.
said that
Like,
before, but yeah.
we did, but like an actual in menopause
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then after. Right. I would
uh-huh.
love to I would just love to hear,
Yeah.
what's to look forward to. Um,
Right. Like, is there
or some
anything
people that are
else?
like or people that are like doing this is what I've done to kind of mitigate some of these things. These are the herbs that I take every day. These are the things because I feel like we don't have those like tools. Honestly, we don't
No.
have a forum that says, okay, for hot flashes, I drink these cups of water, or for this, da 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 da. For I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't know what to expect. Not really. So, that would be dope. Maybe we should start looking out. If you guys are listening and you know anybody who is willing to come on here and talk to us and give us kind of the scoop, if they're in menopause at this moment or if they are postmenopausal. We would love to just have a chit chat. Reach out to us. That's it's a missis at gmail.com. And so now we are actually going to dive in. If you'll remember, we are at episode 83. Do you punish yourself for your failures? Now, Rena, why did we do this topic?
Um, it was a topic you brought up,
Hmm.
and I was very intrigued by it, and I was like, wonder what she feels like she's failing at, you
Hmm.
know? I'm like,
Everything.
where's this coming from?
That's
So,
hilarious.
I think it's something that, failure is something I'm tackling often, and I
Mhm.
feel like I'm always kind of like trying to avoid it. So I just feel like I don't know. I never really asked myself, do I punish myself? And I probably do. So
Yeah.
I wanna explore it more. I just wanna see,
Yeah.
if I am or am not
Maybe not.
crazy.
Well, I can tell you.
Ha!
Are. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Well, the reason that I chose this topic is probably because I was in the throes of like some of those emotional like
So this is a
waves.
period topic.
This is a period topic, yes, it is.
Okay.
But I think honestly, even just really quick, a little tangent. I do think that our period kind of unmasks some of the things that we are able to stuff
Ooh,
down.
don't say that.
No, no, literally. I feel like it brings up things that maybe you would like to look away from, and you
Okay.
can. And your period is like, nah, you can look at it. And so it feels so heightened because you've been, pushing it down or blinding it or muting it. And now it's like right in your fucking face, and that shit feels devastating because you're like, oh shit. So yes, this was a period topic because I feel like the lid just popped back on it. I was driving and I was pondering to myself if that's what I'm doing when it comes to love and romance and
Oh,
bunch of
wow.
other stuff, so I wanted to dig it down.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I did
yeah,
I don't know why I didn't expect it to come from that angle because I feel like
yeah,
all of like your things usually come from that angle. I don't know. So,
that's
all
funny.
right.
Yeah, okay, so then let's let the people know what the agenda is for this episode.
Well, as always, the agenda is to dig it down, which
Mhm,
stands for define, impact, and cope. So, this episode, we define failure and what it means to punish, then discuss the impact of failing in our lives and how we cope with the experience. We make each section clearly known as we go along. You'll hear Jess or I say, okay, we're at the definition and yada, 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 so that you can follow along and
mhm,
pause, talk to yourself, talk to others, jot things down, just, reflect. Or you could just keep listening straight through. Just do what feels comfortable for you. Oh,
mhm.
and if you vibe,
We tried.
okay, we're
Was
here
that
to vibe.
better?
It's yeah,
Yay!
we'll see.
Still not great?
I mean, there's always room for improvement.
I'm fucking weak, oh my god. Okay, well, we are now to the definition portion.
Okay.
And so I scooted on over to our girl Google and defined both punish and failure.
Okay.
And to punish is to inflict a penalty or sanction on someone as retribution for an offense, especially a transgression of legal or moral code. And we'll most likely be focusing on moral code through this
Okay.
one.
Okay.
And failure is defined as the state or condition of not meeting a desirable or intended objective and may be viewed as the opposite of success.
Okay.
What about
Okay.
you?
Me personally,
Hmm.
I guess in its simplest form, it means that you were not able to achieve a goal or meet an expectation.
Hmm.
So I know the way it makes me feel is like I've fallen short or I lack something
Yeah.
or I was unsuccessful. So I feel like that aligns with the definition that you just read off.
Yeah.
Punish for me means to give a consequence for an action in an effort to discourage it from reoccurring. So
Ooh,
I think I gave a little bit more
ooh.
grace than Google did.
Yeah, Google ain't for grace.
Google's like, now you go to jail. Okay, retribution.
Retribution, bitch. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's really good. I like those personal definitions that you have.
Mhm.
Okay, we are now to the impact, the juice, the meat of the matter.
Okay.
Mm. So for me, as I said earlier, this kind of all came from my feelings surrounding love and relationships. Most
Mhm.
of you, if you've been listening for a while, I've been married and now am divorced. And as much as I've been working on the feelings, divorce definitely doesn't feel like winning and was never the intended outcome from saying I do, you know? And when I sit with myself, I often question whether I could ever get it right. Like, what does that even look like? How would a healthy relationship work? Um, and when I get to feeling excitement around someone that I like, I feel like I pull away as punishment to myself forever failing in something so huge. It's part perfection, part ego that I'm wrestling with on how to forgive myself for this failure. And that was a big feeling. And I think the reason I'm struggling with it is because it was like failure was like a huge feeling at the onset of this thing, right? I was just like, oh shit, like I didn't do it. And by do it, the tradition that we think about is like we were together forever. We died using our dying breath. We died together. We was fucking notebooking in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, that was my goal. That was my, idea of winning or having a successful relationship. Maybe not necessarily dying
Oh,
together, but just
yeah.
having this like longevity of life that we've just seen everything together. And we're so old. We have grandkids and great grands and all these things that, you think about when you think about a loving, long lasting relationship. And so when it was time to say like officially this is done, um, that was hard to
Mm.
say that I failed at something so huge. So then I had to work around this idea that it was even failure. So I've been working through
Okay.
that and working around it and saying, that's not failure. It was a successful, and I've been listening to a lot of people say, no, it just ended. It was successful for what it was. You did this, you learned a lot, and blah, blah, and I'm working through that. Right. And so
Mhm,
actively in the forefront of my mind, I don't necessarily think of the divorce as failure. Right.
mhm.
But isn't it till I come into a new situation where it could be a relationship, where it could be something more than just frivolous, that I feel the failure piece peaking up. And I know I was driving and I was like, I don't know that I know how to be in a relationship. I don't know that
Okay.
I am good at it. I don't know if who I actually am is like relationship worthy. Like I just there was a lot of these things coming up and I was like, that feels like failure speak. That feels like you feel like you failed and like you don't even get a chance to try again. Like you did not do a good job and it's done. You did what you could and now it's finished. And I was like, damn, that's really fucked up that I don't get a chance to try again. And not only is it my failures that I feel like I punish myself for, but it's failures of the people around me. I've seen people
Mm.
in my family be married multiple times and none of them work out. And that sounds disturbing to me. I literally don't wanna be those people. I literally don't. I would rather be alone for the rest of my life than to keep failing and failing and failing. And that's what it sounds like, but it's fucked up because that's not what a relationship is. It's just an experience. And I'm trying to feel that in my insides. I'm trying to feel that so innately, or feel that not innately, but I'm trying to feel that so authentically that it's not something that I have to preach to myself. But it is. It is something I have to say to myself because I have these models and these examples of what I consider to be failure. You did it and you failed. You did it, it didn't work out. You did it, it didn't work out. Over and over in the people in my life who I grew up around. And to not want to be that. And I don't know, I'm still working on how do I not categorize it as failure? And even if it is failure, how do I not say I don't deserve to try again because I failed?
So that's your punishment.
Right.
Your punishment is that you're, like, refusing to give yourself another chance or anyone
Yeah.
else another
Anybody else
chance.
another chance. Right. Right.
Interesting.
Right? So yeah, I was sitting with that, my all intense purity emotions. Um,
Yeah,
and that was tough because I still don't know, you know?
right.
Yeah.
I feel a similar way. I feel like I punish myself when it comes to failure by not even trying.
Oh God.
Like, I feel like my punishment is that I won't allow myself to fail.
Uh,
Cause like for me, it's like, and when I think of failure, I don't know if I'm thinking about it from a love perspective. So wow,
mm,
that's very interesting.
mhm.
Because I have had endings you know, in relationships. I don't know if I see it as a failure.
That's
I can
beautiful.
say I've made some mistakes,
Yeah.
but I can't say that I've given up on the idea of having another relationship.
That's
And
nice.
therefore, I feel like I can't label it a failure until I've completely given up, until I've prevented myself from giving it
Try it
a
again.
yeah,
Oh god. I mean, yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's failure to me.
Mm,
Like, you know, I honestly get in reviewing this topic and sitting with it, I'm usually not the optimistic one,
mhm.
but I feel like I can't really say I've really failed
That's
at
good.
anything, and I'm not quick to label things a failure. Now,
Yeah.
I may say I'm doing something wrong.
Okay.
I've made mistakes. I'm making
Yeah.
wrong decisions, but literally the fact that I'm still open to the experience is what prevents me from labeling it as a failure. It's not over until it's
Oh,
done.
Jesus. Okay.
And yeah, literally when I punish myself is when I close the
Stop
door.
trying.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
wow.
punishment is the labeling it a failure.
Mm,
Because that
mhm.
right there is just a no for me.
Labeling it a failure.
Yeah.
That's really mm, that's really dope. I feel like that's really dope because I generally don't have a lot of regrets in life. And
Mhm.
even with this being not how I thought it would go, I still don't regret anything. And it's not that I wouldn't have done it again, even if I knew the outcome,
Mhm.
because I had an amazing time. And that's why I said at the forefront of my mind, I know that it's not a failure, but at the back, that perfectionist piece is like, but it is.
Like, who told you though? Like, who told you that that was a failure? Like, where do you think you got that
Society.
message?
I mean, when my parents, okay, so why are you looking like that?
I'm like, "Oh, I guess society wasn't speaking to me on that."
But then, okay, but okay, to be fair, my parents were married when I was younger,
True.
right?
Yeah, I didn't even see. I can't label it a failure because, hey, they didn't even
Right.
try. They didn't get married.
Damn. Okay, but my parents were married when I was younger, right?
Uh-huh.
This was during the era where it wasn't like so prevalent. So they were getting a divorce. And I
Oh,
was in
okay.
probably fourth grade, and we had to go to therapy, like in school therapy, for the few kids of us whose parents were getting divorced. It was like a very,
They
yes,
singled y'all out? They were like,
yes.
"Okay, this is a group for the kids whose parents ain't together no more."
Yeah, who were getting divorced. Not just not together, who were getting divorced. Yes, I literally remember going to
I mean,
a
I get it that
room
they're trying to give you
and
support. That's
they're giving you
nice.
support, and it wasn't a huge thing, honestly, back then. Divorce is so prevalent now, and divorce is, or even if your parents were never together, this may not be something that you experienced, but if your parents were married and you were around other married people, it wasn't like super prevalent to have divorced parents. It was still like a ooh, touchy
Taboo
topic.
type of thing.
Yeah, so and it wasn't even a lot of us and that's what I'm saying, it wasn't even a lot of us in this group because it wasn't a lot of kids. Either their parents were never together or it was not their parents were still together. There wasn't a lot of us in there, maybe 6 to 10 or something like that. And out of the whole elementary school, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so um you do get the idea. This is not intended. You don't have classes on how to have a successful marriage when or you don't have you're not pulled aside, you're not singled out for nobody said, "Oh, congratulations, your parents are together." I mean, they did actually. My parents won parents of the year for my school one time,
Mhm.
and it was like a huge deal. Um and so that was like success, people are praising you. And now here it is, people are like, oh man, damn, they're getting a divorce. That doesn't feel like success. That doesn't feel like the same thing as people cheering my parents being the parents of the year. That doesn't feel the same. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's just an emotional understanding like this is not great.
Mhm.
This is not good even. And
Mm.
so I think that's where it comes into play. You know what I mean? You have these parents, they're together, and this is how life is, and then they're not,
So when it
and
comes
things
to
are different.
you, so that's where you've seen that it's wrong.
Yeah.
and you felt like your parents were punished, or you were punished actually, with
Mhm.
this kind of, what I is it safe to call it embarrassment? Is it shame? Is it
Ooh.
like
Yeah, there was a lot
what
of
were you
shame around
feeling?
it. There was a lot of shame around it just because of how it ended. It's very public. Well, not very public, but the people in our circles, knew about everything that had happened. So there was shame. There was pub, it was publicly known and things like that. And then there was like a lot of movement. And then my father wasn't there for a long time, so there was a lot that went into it. There was a lot that went into it. It was a like, yeah, so my parents divorced and now my dad's not in the home.
Mm,
And this is the person I thought understood me more than anything. You
mm,
know what I mean? So I don't have that any longer. And then it's just not a two-parent household. We're moving, right? So that's upheaval. And then we moved again,
mm,
another upheaval. And so, yeah, there was a lot that went into this divorce that felt like not great,
hmm.
not success.
So so in this, you punish yourself by feeling like you're not worthy of having it. Like,
Is
what
that
is
what
the
I feel?
punishment? I'm trying that's what I'm trying to know. What is it? What is the punishment?
Uh, so I feel unworthy to have it. I don't know that that's the feeling.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, at least that. I feel like I'm punishing myself because I didn't learn enough about what it meant to be in a relationship to even do it. I didn't have good role models, right? I really didn't.
So
Um,
what do you mean when he's
so
like, I punished myself by uh, like when you say you punish yourself, like what are you doing to yourself? What are you doing?
like I won't allow myself to really feel things for people.
Okay.
Like, I minimize it and I shorten it and I lessen it and I make it
Okay.
and I find something and I'm like, no, 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 no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. And it's like I want to like people. I want to just be. I remember feeling very blissfully
Okay.
in like, and then even more so in love. And I don't know that at this moment, I don't know how to allow myself to do that again. And so it feels like a punishment because I do like people and I get excited and I get very likey feelings. But if they turn into something else, I'm like, you don't even know how to do this. No,
Mm.
sit down until you learn some shit. Like type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a very much like punishment. Like, no, sit down, put yourself in a corner till you learn some more about what a relationship really is. Cause you still don't know.
Like, you're not
Cause
ready for this.
you're not ready
Like,
for this. Right. Not that I'm not worthy, but that I'm not ready because I didn't learn shit. Like you failed and you still ain't learned shit. Like, what is a relationship? What does it even mean? Why are you going to be good at it? What if somebody needs you? What if somebody wants you? What if this? What if that? Like all these things that I'm like, have I learned my lesson? Did I, you know what I'm saying? So that's the punishment. It's like you haven't learned enough to do this again.
mm,
Sit down until you're ready type shit.
so you're
And maybe
belittling
it's
yourself.
maybe, but I also feel like low key is true.
Damn, like you're just a really rough critic. Like, geez,
I
it's,
am.
you
That's
know,
true.
goodness.
I feel like it sucks because that has helped me in a lot of my life,
Hmm.
that critic. I have another side now that I have been listening to who's very gentle with me, and I
Hmm.
take her as like this mothering side, right? And I'm trying to mother my inner, but the critic is still there because that bitch be know what the fuck she talking about. She not just she mean sometimes, not mean, but very like straight to the point, just like how I am. Just very like, nah, you haven't learned shit. Like you
So,
still out here, da 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 da. Like just. And so it is a punishment. It's like you don't get to try again until you fucking fully ready. And like, who can be fully ready? That's the soft part, being like, who can be fully ready? But the other critic is like, you can be more ready than you are, bitch.
hmm.
So that's the punishment. I don't let myself.
You don't let yourself. You're
Uh-uh.
like, it's giving very much like you can't have dessert until you eat like all your vegetables type of thing.
And drink your water.
and drink. Oh goodness, gosh, I'm just gonna be okay.
Healthy. You need to be
Like
healthy.
so, so if you, what would it look like for you if you didn't punish yourself? Like if that voice wasn't there, like, or she just kind of took a walk, off a
It,
cliff.
and see, that's the fear sometimes, is that she is the only practical one. Because without her, I am really a child. I'm really footloose and I would just be gone with every whim of my emotion. And I like a lot of people, as I've said. I would be in a relationship with a lot of these people. Just cause it's like fun and it's like, ooh, excitement. You like me, I like you. Let's do something about it. Because
Could there
that's
be
kind of
any
the
benefits to that though?
you said, would there be any benefits?
Yeah, could there be benefits to that? Like allowing yourself.
Maybe.
Because how are you really learning how to do it better if you're not engaging in the experience?
By looking at other people. I don't fucking know, really? I don't
Looking at
know.
other failures?
What
You're just learning how to
successes?
fail more.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I
Like, do
don't
you
know.
see the
I don't know.
successes in other people's relationships? Maybe
No,
start
everything looks like a
there.
failure.
See, like, so at your punishment, like, you don't even like fuck rose-colored glasses. You're wearing shit-colored glasses to all of this. Like, even if
True,
something
true.
has promise, you're like, nope, that ain't gonna work out. That's terrible. That don't look right. You shouldn't do
I will
that.
say that there
Y'all
are a
should
lot of
break
things that
up.
look. I know. I don't say that. I say good for y'all. If that's how you want to live,
That
more
looks
power to you.
horrible. Oh my god.
I wouldn't do it. I'd be the divorce that motherfucker,
But
but
you
that's
would do
just me.
anything.
You're right. I'm not. I don't know. I don't know what the benefits would be. I mean, I've had, and because I tell you about all these things that I happen upon. So I've had pseudo relationships. I'll get in things with people and talk to them and give them a lot of my time and my energy. You know this. This happens.
Mhm.
And then I'll look up a couple months later and I'm like, girl, what the fuck are you doing? Get
But what
out of
did you
there.
yeah, but what did you learn from that?
Everything's horrible. I'm just playing. I am learning that I think okay, wait. I am learning that what am I learning?
That's your
I am
problem.
learning
Your
you said
punishment is
what?
that you're not allowing yourself to learn anything. Because if that's the requirement of you sitting in the corner learning,
I mean, I feel like I'm learning some things. I am learning that I can let go easier than I thought I could.
okay, is that something that
So
you felt like is a valuable lesson, like letting go? Or is
yeah.
that because you've never attached? You weren't invested to
Oh,
begin with.
what you trying to do is bringing me on this podcast.
Sorry.
Oh man. Oh man. Am I not investing?
No, that's exactly what you just said. You're not. That's your
You're right.
punishment. You won't allow yourself to even try. You're just gonna
You're right.
sit yourself in a corner and watch all these failures. And I don't know when this voice in your head, this lady's gonna let you free to go try again. Like you're not giving yourself permission. You feel like if this lady isn't here guarding you, then you're just gonna go and be in multiple relationships with people. But it doesn't even seem like that's true because you're not. You're not going to.
I mean, yes. I don't know. There's this the punishment is lack of trust in myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the real
You don't trust
punishment.
yourself.
I don't trust
Yeah.
myself
There we go.
is the real lack of or the real punishment. And
Damn, you lost faith in your ability to love?
yeah,
Damn.
yeah. And it's kind of sad because I feel like I have such a capacity to love. Um, but
So
I there was a lot of hurt
yeah, okay. Yeah.
from me to my partner that I don't know that I still fully understand.
So you're afraid of hurting someone,
Absolutely.
not more so than you being afraid of being hurt.
Right. I mean, I also have fear of that because, who wants to be hurt? But I think more so than anything, it's like, I don't know that I'm gonna be enough for you. I
So
don't
you
know that I'm going to treat you well in the way that you want to and understand you when you tell me otherwise. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
I do remember moments of just hearing like things and it just not registering. And I still don't know what the fuck I should have done with it. Like, what do you want me to do with that? I don't know what to do with it. Okay, cool. I hear you. Heard. What else? What else? Like how? Explain. I'm stuck. I'm lost. And so it's being in situations with people that have needs that I can't meet.
so this is more than one person. Like this is something that's
Oh,
like
it's definitely
recurrent.
people. It's people in my life in
Okay.
general. It's not just romantic. Yeah, I'll say that for sure. Um, so
Mm.
yeah.
All right, so they're telling you the same similar thing,
No, no, no. There
but
are
they're
different
different
things.
things.
There's different things about people that, they needed something different from me. And I'm like, you sound fucking dumb. Okay, not really you sound dumb, but like
I mean,
that was like a really harsh way to say it. But it's just like, how could you ever have expected that of me? I don't understand. And so then I think that I don't understand people sometimes. And that, again, it's back to the trust of myself. It's like, am I going to understand you enough to love you? I feel like I'm expressive enough that I can ask for what I need, say what I
mhm,
want, take what I want, things like that. But it's other people. Like sometimes I don't get people. And I'm like, how could you want that from me? Or how am I not giving you that? This is the way that I show love. How are you not feeling love? All of these things. And so yeah, it's just this lack of trust. That's the punishment, essentially.
you know,
No,
I
tell me.
feel I feel like, I've been that person who wanted something from a partner and I felt like I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And after me processing it, like, yeah, I still didn't get what I wanted, but also there was some accountability on my part, some ownership that I had to take that I was not able to clearly communicate
Mhm.
what I wanted. And I also feel like if you're in a relationship with someone, any type of relationship, and you're trying to communicate or they're trying to communicate your needs, and if it's just something that you're unable to do, I wish we just had a little less shame about it and just be like, okay, this is just not your capacity. So I'm going to release you
Yeah.
and, find someone who's more aligned with me.
Yeah.
Now that can be
Yeah.
hard to do with family.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely. It's hard to do with anyone that you care about, because we've been told that love is enough. A lot of times we've been told that love is enough. Love can break the spell. Love can do this. I mean, I'm going from a fairy tale point of view, but also in life, like, oh man, they loved me through. I was just looking at Samuel L. Jackson, who was talking about he was a heroin addict, and that his wife found him. Or I think his daughter found him, and then his wife found him passed out, and then he was in rehab, and he wouldn't be where he is today. He might not even be alive without her. All this stuff. We have all these like beautiful accountings of what love can do,
mhm,
and so when your love can't do that, even if you feel it very deeply, I think that's what it is. I have loved people very deeply,
mhm.
and not all the time do they feel my love, and that is devastating because it's a lot of time and a lot of energy. And I'm not gonna say wasted, but it's, like, not felt
But
in the
sometimes,
ways that I have meant it to be felt. And so, yeah, I don't know.
is it that you hurt them or maybe the love that they were seeking couldn't come from you.
That's painful regardless of whether I meant to hurt them or not. I think a lot of people were hurt by me or disappointed in me or thought differently of me, and not that the thinking differently of me doesn't really matter, and the not that it doesn't matter, but that's not the biggest concern for me. The biggest concern for me is that my intentions are not received, you know? And it's like, is it me? Am I not able to really fully show up for people the way I think that I am? Because I think a lot of people find me in mostly platonic relationships to be very like intoxicating or like magnetizing, right?
Mhm,
So they want to be around me and they
mhm,
want to be in my energy and my space. And I'm
mhm,
able to show up for them in those ways
mhm,
for short periods of time. When we are together all the time or more frequently, am I disappointing in the way that I love, in the way that I show up in love? And I think, yeah, just the punishment is to not trust that I know how to love people correctly sometimes.
hmm, that's tough.
It is.
But also kind of like holding yourself back and not trying other ways to try to
Mhm.
understand people and what they need, then that's I don't think that's gonna help give you what you want.
That's true. I just wish there was a class.
I mean, there's therapy
I mean, there is therapy.
and also being open to the fact that you're not perfect.
Ew.
Well, there you go, that's your
How
problem.
dare you blaspheme on this show?
I mean, look,
I mean, you're
love
right.
isn't
But
perfect.
I know, but it should be. You
You're setting
know?
yourself up for failure with
I
that.
know. I know. And that's the trouble. It's like I sometimes still live in this like really fairy tale place. And life is not like that.
No,
And sometimes that's difficult to grasp.
it is.
When real life be life, and I'd be like, ew, I'm about to go back where I like to live in my fantasy.
Okay.
Gross. Do you feel emotions? Ew. Um, are you disappointed? Ew. Are you sad? I'm just kidding. But I know that it's not perfect, and it's just this is just where I am right now. Like I
Mhm,
did a lot of like heming and hawing on here, but I know that this is just where I am right now, and I have to be honest about it so that I can like look at it and talk about it and sit through it and like learn how to break out of that, you know, for real. Because I think, I was very vocal about feeling like it was a failure initially. Then I was just like, oh no, I'm in a whole different place. And I was able to talk openly about not feeling like that. But like, I was like, literally, I was just driving and I was like, one of the friends, I think I told you this one time, she asked me, do you fumble shit? Because we were talking about a person that liked me or we thought maybe liked me and there were some
mhm,
like signs. She was
mhm,
like, do you fumble shit? And I was like, yes, because I don't know what to do with it.
mm,
I don't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if I'm gonna love you properly, if I'm gonna fuck you up. I don't know. And it's so it's kind of arrogant to think that I could fuck anybody up, but it's
mhm.
also, like I said, it's part perfectionism, part ego that I just need to like break. Not break, I don't know if that's the right word, but I need to like really sit with. So it's just a lot of like honest conversation
Yeah,
that I'm just having with myself. This is how I feel right now. As fucked up as it may be, this is literally how I feel. Like I'm punishing myself for failing at my marriage by
mm,
not allowing anybody to get close enough to me to be disappointed in my love,
mm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's
So
so easy, you know? That's the easy way out.
it is.
Mm.
but also hard because here I am struggling.
You know, I think you I don't know, I think we're in the coat kind of.
Did you say what your impact was?
I said my impact was I don't think I failed. I can't say I've used that
Oh,
label
you
for a lot
did
of
say
things,
that. That's
which
dope.
is odd for me because like, I
Yeah. That's amazing though. That's how I okay, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
no, I kinda paused because, like, at times I think I have, like, that emotion, like, "Oh my gosh," like, I'm failing, I'm not doing a good job, but then I feel like I'm able to be like, "All right, we'll just figure out another way. Let's try this." Like, before
Mhm.
we put that final stamp
Mhm.
on failure, let's
Mhm.
see if there's something else we can do, and that'll
Mhm.
kinda light me up and, give me a little bit more juice to keep going till the next checkpoint where I'm like, are we stamping it? Are we
Yeah. Right.
failing? Like,
Right.
mid,
Right.
good." Um so yeah, like when of course when I was thinking about this topic, I'm just thinking about my entire life, but not really specifically about like relationships or love.
Mhm.
I think yeah, I'm always very like you're very relationship driven and
Mhm.
I'm very like purpose driven. Like what is
Okay.
the point of me existing? What is the purpose of me being
Mm.
here?
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
feel like often like I am not maybe living up to that expectation of what I thought it was going to be.
Okay. I see.
But I don't want to like give up.
Of course.
And I feel like me labeling things a failure would be me giving up.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
And
That's
so
interesting.
but I do think we're punishing each other or in a similar way
Of
because
course.
I avoid failure. I don't want to fail. So
Yeah.
I kind of keep myself in a box, a very controlled box, where
Mhm.
I just do what I'm good at.
Yeah.
But for me to find my higher purpose and to explore, I have to leave the box.
Oof.
The same thing I'm telling you, I need to do for myself. Like, I need to go out there, I need to make mistakes, I need to fail
Yeah.
and know that it's not really failure. Know that it's
Right.
just, you know, I feel like you fail if you just leave it at that.
You're
Like,
right.
yeah, I failed, I'm going back to my box.
Yeah.
But if you make a mistake or you fail, so which is just something not working out according to plan, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Not going the way your wonderful mind thought it would go.
Yeah.
Um, if you are able to extract the lesson,
Mhm.
take what you need and keep going, I can't label that a failure. It's
You're
like we're
right.
still going. We still got skin in the game. We're still moving. But it's you're gonna fail a lot before you get to success.
Yeah.
Because I'm realizing, like just like when I was in school and I would take tests, the questions that I got right, it just cemented what I already knew. The questions I got wrong is where I really learned something new.
Oh, come on now. You better speak that. You're right though. It's always funny because we are both generally I'm relationship and you're, you know, uh
Like,
purpose. And I feel
yeah,
like it's because I recognize like my purpose and I'm walking in it. And like I think
yeah,
we were on opposite sides of this one time when I was like, I don't feel like I feel. And it is so funny because hearing you
yeah,
say that just brought it back to my mind, but it was
yeah.
definitely about like, shit, I'm trying out here for my purpose. Like, no, I know I'm still going in the right direction. May not have worked out this time, but it's just so difficult. The opposite of that, like being in a situation where I'm like, ooh, but it's a trust piece. And what the thing is, I feel like that I probably do need therapy for is that I don't know how to build that trust back up in that way. For other things, I feel so sure that, okay, if I fuck up, I can do it again. But I think the other piece is just like there's another person involved,
Mhm.
you know? I can do all this stuff for myself and like whatever, like okay. But if it's someone else involved, like I don't know. I don't want to play with other people like that. And so it feels like how do I go about building trust with myself without, you know? Of
I mean, I have the same like fear too. Like I don't want to hurt anybody,
course.
but I do trust one thing I do trust about myself is that my intention is not to hurt anybody.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm a good person. And maybe you're
Yeah.
catching me on a good day, but I do feel like
You are a
I'm
good
not an
person.
intentionally uh hurtful person.
Yeah.
A lot of times I hurt people by kind of removing their consent and making executive decisions and, you know, thinking that I'm doing what's best to avoid hurting them.
Yeah.
But what I'm
Without talking to them.
without talking to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could save everybody a lot of hurt if I just say nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that just builds resentment. So it's just kind of, I guess instead of viewing people as an opportunity to hurt them, I view them as an opportunity to learn from them and to
Ooh,
get
that's really
better
good.
at dealing with them. It did take me hurting someone to get to that point though,
Mm.
realizing hey, you need to have better communication,
Yeah.
but I'm glad I did that. Um, because I could totally see how you would just want to be like, you know what? All right, I'm out. I hurt somebody. I'm good. Like, I don't want to do this
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. And especially when it's not your intention. I think if anybody has been listening to this for long enough, they know like my intention is not to hurt anybody. Like I just want to, just want to be light and love and energy and all this stuff. And that yes, you've got a question.
I don't have a question. I have a statement.
I'm listening.
You can only love people as much as you love yourself.
Ooh,
So I think you need to figure out where you're hurting yourself.
that's
And then
that's good.
maybe it will be easier for you to understand where you have like a propensity to hurt others
Mm,
or why you kind of check out when because people if you're in pain and somebody comes to you and saying I'm in pain and I would like you to do this so that I'm not in pain, you're like, well, I'm in pain too, so we in pain. It's easy to be
we in pain.
yeah, it's easy to be dismissive of
Yeah,
someone else's feelings. You
yeah.
got to address what's hurting you.
That's
Something's
some
hurting you.
real shit. What's hurting me? My failures. Jesus.
Your
You're right.
perceived
My
failures.
perceived failures. Yeah. It's just this judgment piece.
Mhm,
Judging others always
mhm,
comes back and now you're judging yourself.
mhm.
And I judged very strongly.
Maybe if you give yourself grace, you can give others grace. Maybe that's what you were missing before.
Maybe
You
that is
know,
it. The grace
like
piece.
yeah,
You're right. I mean, oh God.
like
You're probably
no,
right.
nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody is doing this well.
I
Even
think
the
that's the
people who
part that's
stay
annoying.
together forever, they could have horrible marriages. You staying together is not like a success in
You're
itself.
right. You're right. And
There's
I'm
some
so much
people.
happier outside of this. I was thinking the other day, I was here and I was just like, I am so grateful to be single. I'm
Yes.
so grateful that I'm not in that anymore. And I, I'm happy. I saw a divorce post the other day that says that you can be both happy to be free and sad slash something else that it's done. And I'm like, absolutely. Like they
Yeah.
exist at the same time. Like even while I'm saying all of this, I am beyond grateful to experience this life as a single woman, a single adult woman with means and with the opportunity to explore the world in ways that I wouldn't have otherwise. And so it's just I think we are to the code now,
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah.
And I think for me, the first step is acknowledgement. That's why I've said this so strongly, so fully, because I think that's the only way that we get through these things is if we're just honest with ourselves. I had to acknowledge that there's a distrust of myself and my choices and how I love people, and really just working on
Mhm.
that. Working on how do I build trust with people? How do I build trust with myself? How do I see all the things that I've done with love, and like you said, knowing that my intentions are never evil. They're always pure towards other human beings, whether they receive it in that way or not.
Mhm.
And then of course grace, because how can we get through any of this without that? So that's really how I'm coping. Acknowledgement, grace. Um, Sometimes I want to hide from the feeling, but I know that doesn't help. So I won't. I will say that this is the thing so that I can gnaw on it and chew on it and like say, how do we work through this? How do we work through this? How do we work through this? And when I start asking those things, the universe starts to send me tidbits of like information and insight on how I can actually just maybe heal from this. But I had to say it first. I had to say it aloud first. I had to acknowledge it. And that's how I'm coping, just saying, okay, this is a thing. How do we work through this? You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. What about you?
It just dawned on me. I'm like, okay, my punishment for like failures. Like
Okay.
I guess when we're talking about not relationships, when we're just
Uh,
talking about like just failing. Yeah, hiding.
ooh.
That is because that's what you just said, that you
Yep.
hide
Mhm,
and you shrink away and you make
mhm.
yourself small. But anyway, back to the cope. So the way I cope by pausing,
Mm,
and
mhm.
breathing and giving myself time to just kind of like let that initial feeling wash over me, because a lot of times we're labeling things as a failure too quickly.
Yeah,
A lot of times our feelings are just hurt. A lot of
yeah,
times we're feeling, for me, primarily, I'm feeling shame and guilt and doubt.
mm,
And, a little bit of time, 5 minutes can help the pain from those intense feelings just
yeah,
subside so that you can think clearly.
right.
Then, calling a spade, you said this, acknowledging it,
Yeah,
saying, okay, I see this, this happened.
yeah,
Yeah, that happened. And then like accepting it, like,
mm,
acknowledging your role in it and then
mhm.
accepting it, in the present moment, like as it is, not what you wished it would be, what you
Yeah,
think it can be.
yeah,
Um, and, taking a look at it, once you're able to kind of get through the feelings, once you're even. I think people don't realize the power of making decisions when you're kind of even. You got to wait for that steady, kind of stable feeling,
mhm,
you know.
mhm.
Um, it's like when you stab somebody while you're crying. It's like maybe if you would have waited, you wouldn't have wanted to stab them. But if somebody calmly stabs you, they meant that shit.
They meant it.
They
No, I
meant to
meant to
stab you.
stab you.
They do it
Yeah.
again. So it's like that. Like be calm when you stab people.
I'm weak, Rita.
um, but yeah, taking a look at it, and then
Mhm,
seeing what you can learn and then, like how you could become better. I think if your focus is on becoming better instead of
mhm.
punishing yourself for being worse,
Yeah.
you're gonna motivate yourself to continue on and maybe be
Oof.
less inclined to label it a failure.
Yeah, you're right. And I
You
think that's
know?
really the recap is that
Okay.
failure. Oh, were you? I'm
No, no,
sorry. Did you
no, no.
have
I'm done.
more?
I was like, well, I've done it all. Like,
You
no,
have. You really
I'm
have. I
on
mean,
it
that's
this
you
episode.
are. You are. I mean, that's the recap essentially. Is just that continuing to move on past these feelings of disappointment in ourselves is really what it is, right? And acknowledging that this didn't feel great, but continuing on will prevent it from feeling like failure and prevent you from needing to punish yourself. Breathing through it, taking the steps, acknowledging it. I think that's beautiful, and it's some things that I'm going to take with me through this and sit with and sift through and say, hey, if you try again, you'll get some other successes under your belt. Like you said, you try
Yeah,
again and do better
yeah,
the next time and next time and next time. And until now you're like, wow, I can't believe if I would have stopped there, that would have been failure. But here I am out here thriving in my career, my successful life, or in a relationship that feels very healthy and loving and kind.
yeah.
So that's really beautiful. Are there any shout out for this episode?
I do actually. I thought I did
Ah,
it, but
okay.
I just want to say this because I've had comments, about the podcast, and like we are a. I just want to thank everybody who's continuing to listen, and
Yes,
then also just let people know, you know, there's no pressure to listen to every single episode.
of course.
I get comments about like how like deep or heavy a lot of our topics are,
Yeah,
and um you know, we're a comically morbid, deep
we are.
podcast.
We are.
We have moments of lightness. We try to make fun of it because that's what life is,
Yes.
you know. Um, But, I appreciate people who do listen to every episode. You don't have to. I
Yeah.
appreciate those, who pick and choose which one they feel like is good in the moment. And I think that's
Right.
the best way this podcast can be used. Like find
Yeah.
that topic that fits you in the present moment, listen to it and process it for yourself,
Yes.
you know. But I just want to say I appreciate everyone.
Yes.
And I thank everyone.
Mhm.
And, you know, that is my shout out.
That's a beautiful shout out. I do think that's a lovely understanding of what we do. Like if you're new, this is your first episode. This is therapy for both Rena and myself. And
Okay.
anybody
I'm about to
what?
say ain't nobody's therapist, but yes,
No,
it
no,
is
no, no,
it
no.
is
I was
a
saying for us.
therapeutic
This is our
conversation for us.
therapeutic conversation with each other. So of course it gets a little deep, a little heavy, and of course we're gonna make some light of it because that's
Yeah.
who we are. And again, like she said, morbidly I don't know what you said. Morbidly what? Funny? I don't know. Either way,
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. This is for us. We are grateful for you to follow along and hope that if you find yourself resonating with these things that it can help you process and kind of work through and talk through these things or maybe even start a conversation with people that you love or like and can do this kind of processing with them. But yeah, man, so grateful that y'all are still following along, fucking with us, trucking along and all this stuff. But I want to shout out to those of you who have quote unquote failed at love and tried
Oh,
again and giving yourself the opportunity to find love that fits you. Shout out to y'all. I'm looking at y'all as inspiration and I hope to be with you one day.
oh, not just picking apart all their red flags.
You said what?
I said, and not just picking apart all their red flags.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we are, I think, to my favorite part. Yes.
Yes.
This is the meditation. If you're new here, what we do is take a couple deep breaths. We set an intention, take another couple set of breaths, and then we let you go about your day. What I'd like you to do for me is take a big deep breath. We'll take a second deep breath. We'll take one more deep breath. Now we'll set our intention. I intend to allow myself to grow from things that I didn't do well the first time, to not stop and collect failures, but to continue on and to collect lessons.
I love that. Oh, I
Thank
love
you.
that.
Thank you.
It is my intention to remain open, up to allow myself to explore, um, so that I can learn about myself, so that I can make better decisions for myself, and I can keep moving and be less likely to label something a failure.
I love that. All right, we're going to take our second set of breaths. Take another big, deep breath with me. Take a second deep breath. And we'll take our last deep breath. All right, your intentions have been set. Today doesn't have to be a mess.
But it's okay if it is.
Show is, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. This was it was a little deep episode,
Yeah.
little gravity to it, but I'm grateful that you guys kept going, followed through with us. I'm grateful to you, Rena, for just being a listening ear, giving the advice that you were given. And yeah, this has been really dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are to the end. And if you have a topic idea you'd like to discuss, please email us at itsamessis@gmail.com. That can also be used if you would like to be a guest, or if you just want to tell us, hey, great job. Again, that's itsamessis@gmail.com. Now, if you would like to be a social media, person. I don't even know what I was trying to say there. Child, it's a mess. If you are more social media person, you can follow us on Instagram and comment there. It's at It's a Messes Podcast. On Facebook, same It's a Messes Podcast. Twitter at It's a Messes. And if you would like to see our lovely faces, you can find us on YouTube at It's a Messes. You just got to search for us. Is there anything else we need to let the people know, Rena?
No, because I'm running out of sun.
A period. All right, then we're going to catch y'all on the flip side.
Peace.
Peace. It's a
Hey, that's all I
message.
can do.
It's
I
a
can't sing.
mess. It's okay. He's gonna talk over my singing though. Okay, it's ready now.